always take a time out to say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, those of you viewing GBN TV. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Wednesday, the 4th day of June, 2025. Good morning also to those of you via social media platforms, whether it's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. It's Government Wednesdays here today on today's edition of To The Point, and we have some folks in studio this morning. You know, I'm always that bad with names, so I promise to do it myself, but I think I'm just going to leave it up to the, of course, my guests to say their names and of course give us a little background about themselves before we dive into the conversation this morning. Good morning to both of you ladies. How are you this morning?
Good morning, GT. I got your name right.
Yeah, she got my name right. So tell us, let's go over this. Let's start off with you.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me today as well. And my name is Frances Herrera. I'm the principal officer for our U.S. Embassy here in Grenada. And I have been here almost 3 years serving in this position. And it's a real pleasure to be here.
All right. Nice to have you too. Of course.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. And I'm Dr. Tyhiesia, the Director of Medical Services at the Ministry of Health, and I'm based at the General Hospital.
All right. So now that we got that bit of formalities out of the way, I didn't butcher anybody's name. You take care of that. Welcome once again. And as I said in the intro, nice to have you with us this morning here on the program. Our main conversation this morning is a visit of the is it the Comfort?
U.S. Naval Ship Comfort.
U.S. Naval Ship Comfort, of course. And it's not the first time it's going to be here on island.
No, the last time was 2019.
2019. Tell us a wee bit about the ship, per se.
Okay, so Continuing Promise is what the mission is called. It's a medical mission. Continuing Promise 25 has taken, this mission has taken place since 2007.
Yes.
The Continuing Promise mission. And this year marks the 16th year of the mission and the 8th iteration aboard the U.S. Naval Ship Comfort. And as I just mentioned, it visited Grenada in 2019.
2019, yes. All right. Basically, I said, now give me a wee bit in terms of the function of that particular ship. What it really carries out, per se.
Okay, so it's actually going to conduct mission stops in 6 countries, Grenada being the first country. And it'll be going out to Panama, Colombia, Ecuador, Costa Rica, and Dominican Republic this time. And it's fully equipped hospital ship with 100-bed operating capacity, scalable to 1,000 if needed. It houses advanced surgical suites, radiology, dental and optometry clinics, pharmacy services, laboratory support, and that's just the beginning of what it actually supports. And on board are medical professionals, engineers, public health experts, biomedical technicians, and U.S. Army veterinarians, and they're all committed to serving this mission with excellence and compassion.
So it's like a fully functional hospital.
Correct.
A
floating hospital. They call it a floating hospital.
All right. And Dr. Tyhiesia, tell me, the ship is coming here. What are Grenadians would be expecting?
Okay, so first of all, we want to say thank you to the government of the United States of America, and the Grenada public is looking forward to this mission. We're going to be collaborating, of course, Ministry of Health with the embassy to host this mission. Now, what's going to happen is that from next week, between the 11th, basically from the 11th, 12th, and 13th, we're going to be having a large health fair, which would be hosted at the athletic stadium, the Karani James Athletic Stadium, and this would be hosted by the team from the U.S. Comfort ship. So basically, it would be held and hosted by the military with support from the Ministry of Health. So services would be offered on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in areas of women's health, men's health, pediatrics, and also dentistry. So persons can come down and get services rendered between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, outside of that, the team from the ship, they wanted to decentralize the services to make sure it's accessible to persons even from the north of the island. So on the 10th of May, which is next Tuesday, they will be holding a smaller version of that health fair at the Polyclinic in Guelph. So persons from the northern part of Grenada, St. Patrick's, St. Mark's, St. John's, and even persons coming across the Belvedere can attend the polyclinic at Guav to receive services from the military team there.
Okay.
So they would also be offering services there in women's health, men's health, pediatrics, and dental services. And all of these services would be rendered by the military team from the U.S. Comfort ship.
All right.
All right. So we were really inviting persons to come out and take up the opportunity to receive the services and, to try their best to come early. All right. Of course, because we expect a lot of persons to come out to receive care. So we're asking persons to make sure that they come prepared, come with your water, come with a little snack in case there's a little wait. And of course, we're asking everyone to be orderly, be patient, because persons would be seen. And we of course, extend our Grenadian hospitality to the visiting team.
The benefit of this to Grenada in general, tell me about that.
Yes. So the benefit of this is in terms of improving and enhancing delivery of healthcare services to our population. It's also going to help in, closing in some of our gaps within our system, because we do have some gaps in our system. The ship is offering services as far as CT scans. Okay. So at times, CT scans, there's a waiting list. And so persons can access that service. So persons who are on waiting list for CT scans can also get scans done on board
Someone who may
US
have a
Navy
referral
ship.
or something, could they come and of course access that service also?
So persons to access the service would have to go to the medical site, which is at the Karani James Athletic Stadium.
Okay.
And that would be from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So persons would go to the medical site, they would get assessed, they would have their pre-checks, and then they would be offered the services accordingly. And for persons who need to have CT scans done, they would also need to be assessed first, because some scans require preparation and require blood testing. So we advise persons to make sure they get seen and assessed early, so they can be properly prepared to get the different interventions as required.
All right. And there's possibility, you mentioned everything can be done on that particular ship. I'm assuming folks who may want minor surgeries and so forth, that may occur also?
Correct. So in terms of the minor surgeries, so what we had done through the Ministry of Health, we send that message out to all of our public health facilities.
Okay.
And so persons have been calling in, and so we actually have a surgical list.
Yeah.
We'll be covering 4 areas. All right. So the team would be covering pediatric surgery, general surgery, plastic surgery, and cataract removals.
All right.
So these are the 4 areas. So what has happened is that we have been collecting patients from the districts, from the different medical districts that exist within our public health system, and even from our clinics at the hospital. Plus, once the advertisement went out, a number of persons have been calling in.
Assuming that it has been overwhelming already.
Yes, it has been. It has been. So what we've been doing, our Ministry of Health team, and that's where the collaboration comes in. Yeah. So the U.S. team and the Ministry of Health team have been working together. So all of the patients are being pre-screened by our team.
Okay.
All right. So actually, we already have a list of over 70 persons for cataract surgery, persons for general surgery, persons for plastic surgery. So those lists are pretty big.
If I want to put the ugly face somewhere, I can probably put it on the list.
Yes. You can guess I can get a little facelift, So,
all right.
Yeah. So it's really good, because it's going to help us cut down some of our backlog.
Yes.
And also help us to fill in the gaps, because Grenada, we do not have a plastic surgeon on island. So of course that service in particular is really beneficial.
Yes.
And so that group of persons for surgery, they are already pre-screened,
right.
and these persons will be seen on a separate day, right. And they would actually be receiving their intervention on board the ship.
All right. So for folks who may not have already come to the various district, health centers and so forth on screen, if someone just shows up and go on that particular attendance, would they be accommodated?
Right. So if they show up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they would be assessed and pre-screened, because the ship is going to be here for just a few days. There are persons persons, at least the more complex cases, would not be done in this short period. But the more simple cases would be done because, of course, the recovery process is shorter. And, of course, the Navy team want to make sure that when they operate on the cases, they can see them through, see the recovery, and then pass these patients on to us for follow-up care.
All right. Of course, Ms. Herrera, I hope I'm getting the name right.
You did great.
Tell me, I mean, the U.S. Comfort, it's been around the world doing this. It's Grenada, this is the second time coming back here. How does the U.S. Embassy feel about offering this service to Grenada in particular?
Well, I can speak for Francis Herrera, who I do represent the United States, and I'm proud to do that. I'm proud to be here in Grenada, and this Grenada's been home for 3 years. So I can tell you that my team and I, and it's myself and local Grenadian employees, we are excited. We did have continuing promise 23, but it was not on the comfort, and we saw the benefits. We saw what was provided here in Grenada, and so I wanted to really push for it to come back again, and we're very grateful that they're back. But this time, there's so much more that they're able to do with the number of patients they can see at the stadium, at the medical site, and these surgeries on the ship. I want to say that outside of all the medical part of this, they're bringing much more to Grenada because we have a group of U.S. Navy construction team. And they're going to be going to the island of Carriacou, and they're going to be doing some construction on one of the schools there. We are building a chicken coop for one of the schools, which is then we're going to purchase chickens for it to provide then these meals every day for the children of the school. That's great. They're doing also building benches for one of the school in Petite Martinique and providing donations of books for the library. They're having engagements with the Navy band. Will be collaborating with the Grenadian police force here. They're going to be putting on the band. Exactly. They're going to be doing master classes at schools across the island, and then they're going to have one very large community concert on Sunday, 15 June, at the GCNA car park in Guave. And that will also be one of the schools participating there and with the band musically. So these are opportunities for students, for the communities, and I think that's amazing. And the other community relation events will be some painting projects, and actually they're going to be having a small soccer match in Carriacou as well with some of the Navy team and some of the school and the Grenada, one of the football club there. All
right. We drew for a break. Let's take that break. We come back and, of course, get some more, continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
Attention.
Sporting fans, ready yourselves for the most anticipated Winston-Tide games, June 7th and 8th at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Come support our athletes as they compete with some of the region's best in the field events and on the tracks. Save the date, June 7th and June 8th, Winston-Tide games at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Stay tuned for more info. Winston-Tide game 2025.
Grenada, the road to greatness continues. Catch the senior men's national team live at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium for 2 thrilling football clashes. Saturday, May 31st, it's a fiery international friendly as Grenada takes on Anguilla, just $20 admission. Then on Wednesday, June 4, it's our FIFA World Cup qualifier versus the Bahamas, $25 admission. Both matches kick off at 7 p.m. sharp. Come dressed, come loud, come proud. Style your national team, bring your posters, and show the world you are the 12th man. Let's pack the stadium, flood the stands, and roar together. Get your tickets now at the official GFA ticket outlets. Go to Fed.com or at the gate. Let's stand proud with Team Grenada. One island, one team, one goal.
The Mass officially starts now as Spice Mass Cooperation together with Aura Caribbean is turning up the thing all the way up with Carnival City Fusion Thursdays. It all kicks off on Thursday, May 29th and continues every Thursday into June. We're bringing the vibes to the Port Louis lawn. Gates open 7 p.m. Action starts 8 p.m. Get ready for live performances from your favorite soca, groovy and calypso artists, plus the sweet sounds of steel band, live bands, and all the mass elements you love. Veko, Jab Jab, Short Knee, Moko Jumbi, Apache, and more. It's more than a line. It's a whole carnival experience. So grab your crew, bring the energy, and come let's celebrate where culture meets pure excitement. Carnival City Fusion Thursdays, Port Louis Lawn, beginning May 29th and continues every Thursday into June. Come, let's play a mass, cause the thing starts.
Yes, Grenada, it's what we've been waiting on. The countdown to the Maggie, King of the Grill. It's back at its legendary home, Montrouge Playing Field. Grand Dance on Saturday, June the 7th. The Flames return with Grill Masters battling for glory. All the action starts at 12 noon. Then from 6 p.m., we go stateside for live entertainment by the Caress Band. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. Loads of attraction for the kids, bouncy castle, games, and plenty of fun for the little ones while we indulge in smoky goodness. Don't miss the vibe, the flavor, the fierce competition. King of the back and better than ever. It's the King of the Grill 2025. Maggie King of the Grill, brought to you by Maggie, the secret of
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Welcome back to my guest. Now, we spoke about a whole lot already. Of course, the anticipation is already brewing for our listeners and viewers who've been looking forward to services of that particular nature from the Navy, from the U.S. Navy Comfort. Hope I'm getting it right again. Yeah. Tell us about some other, of course, services, especially on the medical side, that will be offered. Maybe that we didn't get in the first segment.
Okay, so on the medical side, another highlight of the mission is optometry services. Okay. So basically, there would be eye care, there would be testing of the eyes, and of course, persons requiring interventions would also be sorted out. So that would be a big group of services. Is there any particular day that they will be dealing with that in particular? So that would be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right. So remember, all 3 days. Okay. We also wanted to highlight as well, there would be collaboration with the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the U.S. Navy team in terms of veterinary services. Right. So they would be offering veterinary services in St. Andrews and in St. Patrick's. Okay. And of course, the teams in those parishes are already mobilizing, so persons can there would be training and exchanges that would be taking place. Right. So there would also be veterinary services.
All right. So folks who probably have issues with their animals and so forth get advice in terms of the proper care and so forth of their animals. Okay, great. I mean, that certainly is something that folks should look forward to.
Yes.
I mean, with some of the services that will be offered, it's not always we get an opportunity to get, of course, that professional assistance in terms of that. So it's certainly going to go a long way.
And one more thing, though, dermatology. There are a number of persons with a lot of skin conditions in country. Yes. And this is another area that will be covered. So dermatology services would also be offered. Okay. So persons with skin conditions looking for a second opinion or even for a first opinion can also seek care on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So
it's a wide array of range of it that is coming. So folks, whatever condition you have, and I say whatever condition, what you think you have a medical condition that you've been actually looking forward to get some help with, there's probably opportunity will present itself now for you. Great. Of course, Ms. Herrera, anything else we have missed that of course, when we offer that, you maybe want to jump into this segment?
Yeah, sure. Outside of the medical side, part of it though, they're collaborating with the University of Miami that will be coming through their team that does crisis management and training. So they're going to be doing CPR and stop the bleed training with the Ministry of Health, NADMA, and the RGPF on the 10th and 11th. and that's something I really did want to highlight because as hurricane season is approaching as well, that's very important that we have that collaboration. And then I would also say that a lot of NGOs have donated. They're bringing so many donations on the ship with them that will be between books and sports equipment, health kits. They'll be having school supplies that we're donating. It's just a number of things that
it's
are coming.
a wide range of benefits.
A wide range of benefits, yes, that are coming off to be distributed between here and the other islands. We are ensuring that Carriacou, Petite Martinique, and the island here,
okay,
we're
great.
all three.
I mean, Grenada is a first leg. We may take everything. We're probably just kidding at that. I want to thank you both for coming and sharing information this morning, and I'm certainly sure that our listeners and viewers who probably missed this, the advert was out and probably missed it, now have an opportunity to, of course, probably go to their clinics in their constituency and of course, make the necessary arrangement. Of course, Dr. Tyhiesia already mentioned there's been lots of course, information coming from the folks who want this particular attention. You understand? And I certainly hope the list is going to grow even more by now and the time the ship gets here. Anything we have missed that you want to highlight again, or anything in closing before we take a wrap for today?
So I just want to remind everyone that the U.S. Navy Comfort ship would be here next week. They'll be offering services, medical services, from Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, there would be a medical site set up at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. At that medical site, a wide range of services would be offered, including women's health, men's health, pediatrics, surgery, optometry, dermatology, just to name a few, dentistry. So all of these services would be offered at the medical site, which would be set up and will be hosted and conducted by a team from the U.S. Navy ship. And it will be, again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 8 a.m. Right. So we're asking persons to be orderly, to come early. We would have a ticket system, walk with a little water, a little snack, because there may be a little wait. And we're inviting you all to come out and take advantage of the services. Also, there are persons who will be benefiting surgically as well. And these persons were already seen, they're already prepped, and these persons would be receiving services on board the U.S. Navy ship. And so we want to say thank you to the U.S. Navy team and the U.S. government for facilitating this mission.
All right. Thank you so much. Was there anything in closing for me this morning?
I can't leave without saying that the visit here would not be possible without the collaboration of the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, and our many local partners. So I had to say that. And, together we'll be delivering medical services, housing, hosting school engagements, participating in cultural exchanges that bring so much value here, shared values, and strengthening our relationship.
All right. Certainly welcome once again. I want to thank you both for sharing information this morning, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the day, and all the best to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, folks, that's how we're going to wrap this first segment. We do have a third guest coming in this morning, and we're going to, of course, entertain them shortly. So until we're back again, see you folks in a short. That's what we say goodbye for this segment.
Get ready, Grenada. The excitement is building for one of the biggest athletic events of the year. It's the Whitsuntide Games 2025, happening on June 7th and 8th at the iconic Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Come witness the speed and strength from Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent, Antigua, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago as they compete in thrilling track and field events from 9 a.m. sharp. From powerful shot puts to blazing sprints, this is athletic excellence you don't want to miss. Purchase your tickets now from GoToFed.com. Main stand $20, main stand finish line $30. Or have the VIP experience at $150 for 1 day or $200 for the 2 days. Mark your calendars, June 7th and 8th, and be there to cheer on greatness. The Whitsuntide Games 2025, where champions emerge.
Yes, Grenada, it's what we've been waiting on. The countdown to the Maggie, King of the Grill. It's back at his legendary home, Montrouge playing field. Grand Dance on Saturday, June the 7th. The Flames return with Grill Masters battling for glory. All the action starts at 12 noon. Then from 6 p.m., we go stateside for live entertainment by the Caress Band. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. Loads of attraction for the kids, bouncy castle, games, and plenty of fun for the little ones while we indulge in smoky goodness. Don't miss the vibe, the flavor, the fierce competition. King of the Grill 2025 is back and better than ever. It's the King of the Grill 2025. Maggie King of the Grill, brought to you by Maggie, the secret of great flavor. Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Class Coat, Grenada's #1 rum. Grenada Paper Products, Classic Lightning Caribbean, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union, Budget Foods, where quality and affordability call home. Sandals Resort, Flow, Glen Spring Water, Blue Bubbles PA Rentals and Event Supplies, Innovation Grenada Limited, and Rubus, Fuel and Grills in competition. It's the Maggie King of the Grill 2025. Be there.
Welcome back once again, listeners and viewers. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. Of course, with me this morning, we have, of course, the Honorable Quinc Britton with me this morning here on the program. He's popping for this half an hour. And, of course, we're going to just have just a brief discussion this morning. Welcome to Senator Britton. I think it's the first time I'm having you on the program. How are you doing this morning, sir?
All right, thank you, GT, and good morning to your listeners and viewers. And yes, it's my first time being here in the studio. It's not my first time on To The Point.
Okay, well, maybe
the last time
I'm hosting you.
Yeah, well, it's true the first time, so it's a first for everything. The last time I was hosted, that was just before the election. Okay. That was with Joseph Cado.
Okay, great. Okay. Let's see how we could get this conversation started this morning. We saw the launch of Spice Mass, was it a few weeks ago? You being part of that particular ministry, culture and tourism and culture. How was the build-up getting so far? What is that feedback we're receiving thus far in terms of build-up towards Spice Mass 2025?
It's been a very positive one, I would say. We started off with a bang. Yes. So as the old people would say, the things start. Yeah. And you can clearly see that throughout the villages and so on. Already over the weekend, we had the launch of one St. Patrick's Carnival Committee. Mm-hmm. So they did the launch. We hope very soon that St. Mark will follow suit. In fact, they are carded for the 15th of that's Father's Day. I think there is a meeting later on. So they would confirm and tie up the necessary ends and so on. But things is looking very, very good for Spice Mass 2025. And I say the best mass by far.
Best mass by far.
We are working towards the best mass by far.
What are some of the major differences are we going to see for Spice Mass 2025? I mean, over the years, we know the particular concept of the carnival, delivery of this. Is there anything in particular that is planned that will see a major difference in terms of Spice Mass 25? We know it's the best mass by far. You understand? What is the of course, the Ministry of Culture and so forth looking forward to make a form of enhancement process for the Spice Mass 2025?
I would say we would not see no major changes per se. In fact, last year what we did, we had brought all the necessary stakeholders together and having a review as to what kind of product that we really would like to see. And changes will happen, but it would happen incrementally because you know how we are as Grenadians and when it comes to changes. So one of the things that we have not concluded as yet even if we did that meeting with the stakeholders, but what we are in the process of doing also is what you call an economic impact assessment as to how many revenue that is being generated during Spice Mass, and we already started the process, but most of the work has to be done during Carnival. So we would see, firsthand as to what the economic impact is, and how do we justify to government that we pump more money into Spice Mass and so on. There is something that they brought back this year, which is Carnival City. So that would create that kind of vibe, a buzz, or energy towards the build-up, of Spice Mass 2024.
That has been kind of missing for a couple of years. We haven't had Carnival City. When was the last time we had Carnival City? Was it
a few years ago, even before COVID-19, because
that was the last time I remember having Carnival City. Used to be on the Carnage area. I think that's the last place that it was actually.
Yes.
So you haven't had that fun. That's good to have that come back once again, because it builds that vibe, and especially the regular folks who may not want to go to the other activity, but get that build up, get a sense of the new songs and other aspects of Carnival. During the Carnival City, it's. Every year we always hear that, that an assessment of the year before. 2024 Carnival is wrapped up. Now we're in 2025. What are some of the main, in terms of the review that was done, that we thought that, maybe could be enhanced a whole more for 2025?
One, I can say off the bat, the management of Juvie.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's critical.
Yes, very, very critical. And one of the things that we would do is to educate people a bit more as to, because Spice Mass is not just about Juvie, right? So there's other aspects of Mass that needs to be showcased and so on.
It's one of the critical part of Juvie also.
Yes.
If there is no Juvie to be, there ain't no Carnival.
That's true. That's true. Take for instance, when as you see, and I mean, you notice in recent times, you see a lot of jab on the streets and so on, and there's been much talk about it over the week, the past week. And we know Carnival launch, and we're not against anybody practicing, doing whatever. But what we have to do, we have to be responsible, and we have to be mindful of, there's other road users and so on. For instance, when you dab yourself in the oil, you immerse in the oil. It's a great feeling, because it's just it's a feeling that you have this kind of it feels free.
It's a bit of a transforming yourself.
Yes.
And I certainly do understand. Folks may have misinterpreted the Prime Minister's statement to a point, but I certainly do understand it where he's coming from.
Yeah, because
I think it sort of kills the anticipation, in my opinion. If you wonder where I'm coming from, all right. Yes, I'm not saying folks cannot have the individual, as they say, they practice with the jab, as we will say locally. But if I'm driving around and I'm seeing jab every Sunday, it kills the anticipation for Juvie morning.
Of course. And I share the same sentiment as well. Because
supposedly a visitor comes to the island, and he's here maybe for the next 2 months, and he's seeing jab being played every Sunday or whatever day that they want to have extensively. It kills his anticipation of what it's going to be like. That's splendor for Juvie morning. That's my interpretation of it. You understand? I hope folks don't get me wrong with it, but I guess you understand where I'm coming from with it. You understand? It loses that anticipation. Hey, a Juvie morning, and why would I want to go Juvie now if I've been seeing jab for the next 2 months?
That's true. So that's a perspective in which I share as well too. I share my own perspective as to, and I agree with you that it kills the anticipation. Because if we market, our Juvie as let's say 100,000 jab. I mean, if we seeing that happening every day of the week,
something like Christmas, you know that.
Yeah. But we just asking persons to be responsible and so on, because when you you get, like I said, when you immerse in the oil and so on, then it has an impact on the environment, one on the road users, because after that oil, the road would be very slippery, so you have to sand the road and so on. So you just ask, for persons to be responsible and so on. We not in any way, shape or form would deny anybody the opportunity for them to be playing, because once carnival launch, I say the things start. Yes. And if you go over the island in many different villages that let me just say Mount Horn and Paraclete, those areas, that's their culture is unique, just as how Veco is unique to St. Mark. Right? So you would find people playing and so on. They just ask people to be responsible and be responsibly for behave in a responsible manner and so on. So
I certainly agree with that statement a whole lot, and I certainly hope that folks will have a different approach towards it. You understand? As maybe they are the inner parts of the island that maybe it could happen, or not on the main roads and so forth. If it's I guess it will be okay for that purpose, where the traffic is not that heavy. I want to dive into your constituency just a wee bit. Tell us what's going on in St. Mark's.
A lot has been happening in St. Mark.
You being the caretaker, tell us what's going on in St. Mark's.
Well, last week we hosted a very successful town hall meeting, and there was a short video clipping that I showed some of the progress that we've been making over the past 3 years. St. Mark, as many persons may have had it, that it was a forgotten constituency by past administrations and so on. But like I always say, is we at this juncture not to cast blame, but how we can improve the lives and so on of the people of St. Mark. And St. Mark is very dear to me. I tell them, I always say, I born, I grow, school, and I have no intention of going anywhere else to reside but in St. Mark. So it holds a really dear part of my heart, and some of the things that we were able to do within the last 3 years is things that I've been seeing that needing to be done since I was maybe a tender age, I can say. Okay. So this is what we are doing. We are just staying focused on the upgrades to infrastructure, try to do some more enhancement of people, encouraging a lot of our people to uptake more scholarships so that they can enhance themselves, do some skills training, and those. So the overall development of St. Mark, and I pray that the Lord grant me long life, health, and strength, so we can see the outcomes. St. Mark's can be truly transformed. And like I said last week, we always have that statement that if Columbus come back, one place you would remember. And I said, when Columbus come back, one place you would not remember is St. Mark, because we believe in changing the aesthetics and so on of the town, some overall improvement and basic things, what we consider to be low-hanging fruits. Something as simple as the widening of some of the narrow roads. I was just
going to ask you, what are some of those inroads that you have in terms of the transformation part of St. Mark's that have really stood out thus far?
Right. So one, better access to. We have a seasonal beach, right, in Victoria, where sand comes on every now and again, and to access the beach, you normally it's very, very challenging with stones and so on. So what we were able to do to access the beach. We put some rails, ramps, so catering to the needs of the differently abled as well as the elderly. There's one area where we constructed a boardwalk. It was over a big storm drain, so we constructed a boardwalk, as well as access to the Alston George Park. Some years ago, some upgrade was done to the park, and because of that, the elevation is much higher. Therefore, it required you to have stairs and better access. So again, you had ramps as well as stairs, catering to the differently able. So a parent, having to push the child or children in a stroller, it makes it much easier accessible for them. So that's two things that really stand out and is impactful to the community, and so on, everyone can see. one of the major things that we as a government, we were able to accomplish, even though it's not yet commissioned officially, is the Bonnet Bridge.
Yes.
The Bonnet Bridge, everyone is happy to see, the outcome of that.
The other day.
Yes, and it's something that I'm really, really happy because many years ago, GT, I made a post on Facebook. In fact, many persons might say that is what catapulted me into politics. But I've always been a part of the National Democratic Congress, being there, playing different roles and so on. But this is what kind of really stood out. People remembering, me making that clarion call for something to be done about the bridge. And I'm happy that at the time the administration listened, take our considerations, and now we were able to implement and construct the Bonnet Bridge in less than 2 years. And like I say, it's almost, well, you can say 100% complete. Is all we're waiting on now is the ceremonial opening and so on. But it's something that again I welcome because the amount of persons, especially the kids, you have 3 schools in that area, the Bonnet Government School, the Victoria Preschool, plus the Villagers, and the School for Special Education. So the bridge has been constructed for dual passage, as well as you have 2 pedestrian walk with the rails and so on. So it's much, much more safer. Some people, they had their views as to, what should have been done and so on. Well, hence the reason why they were having consultation. They had consultation, you had your opportunity to share your views and so on. But, be that as it may, we are grateful. And I am extremely happy to be part of an administration that oversees all that. And one of the things, again, JT, that stands out to me, our assistance in housing, is a major concern all over the island, and in St. Mark in particular. Something that stood out to me even more, the rate at which we are able to provide the assistance, and the quantum, it can amounts to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there was some tragedy with a couple of fires over the last couple of years, and thankfully nothing major has happened this year. So what we were able to do, we were able to get people in the community organized so that we form a volunteer firefighting group in the constituency, so that we are able to respond effectively, and that has worked for us, as well as whenever there's a fire, once we get the police report, then we help assist the persons in building back their home, and even to much more comfortable living and so on. So this is something that
great,
and it feels sometimes as if it's 30 years of work, but it's only 3 years, and like I say, we know that.
Right. I want you to talk a little bit. I want us to talk about the human development of the parish, especially that part, the human development part, of the parish, especially how the folks within the parish. You mentioned in your initial stages, St. Mark's has always been seen as a forgotten parish. The human development aspect of the parish, how is that going?
To be honest, it's not where we really would like it to be, but there has been some improvement. For instance, I encourage persons who, especially those who, young adults, at a second chance for education. Bridge Learning Institute with Dr. Michelle Alexander, they has been an integral part of that, helping persons within the constituency who sign up to do CXC subjects, CAPE subjects, and so on, and as well as we encourage persons to uptake in scholarships. So you have a number of them who I share information with as it comes to hand, and I encourage them to be part of. I would like to see our people, because that's one of the key things to get you out of, or you say, poverty. All right, and I don't share the sentiment that it's statistically said St. Mark's is the poorest parish. I don't share that sentiment because, to be quite honest, I don't see that the parish as being poor. I see the parish as it has a lot of resources, especially we have a lot of talent.
Just never been tapped into as it should.
Yes, and that's one of the things that we are looking forward to do. I can tell you, Christopher Columbus could never recognize us after we finish with St. Mark's.
So the Britton, we drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, I want you to talk to me a wee bit about your overall vision, being the caretaker for the parish. What is your overall vision for St. Mark? We will talk a wee bit about that when we come back after the break.
Sure, no problem.
It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Folks, stay with us. Don't you dare touch your dial.
Two of Calypso's powerhouse, Big J and Sour Supper, are launching for 2025. Calypso Power Launch on Saturday, June 7th at the Lassages Had Court in St. David from 8 p.m. featuring Calypso, Toka Kaiso, and X-Tempo. Come hear Big J's new offerings for 2025. Plus Sour Supper celebrating 20 years this year. Plus Junior Monarch Morty, Royalty, Shabak, Calypso Monarch Innocent, The Great King Darius, Squeezy, Smallies, and more. All backed by the Heatwave Band with MC Senator. Early bird tickets are $30. General admission $40. Available at Lixon Bikes, Grenadian Optical, St. David's Pharmacy, and Jew at Lotto in Grenville. Sponsored by Cocoa Breeze Bar, Hanky's Grenada, Kiskey, Chopstick, A-Bun Distributors, Hero Bay Express, Paddy's Shipping, Waditi Rental, and Dana's Tasty Food. Endorsed by the Spice Mass Corporation.
Hey GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed, stay ahead. First with the news, fast with the updates.
Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you to come join us next Saturday at King of the Grill. You can sample our wonderful Divine products and many other products that we offer at Budget Food. Again, next Saturday, King of the Grill. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Montrouge Plainfield from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Coming up, it's called the Nature Island of the Caribbean for several good reasons. This event features some icons of the craft, with info on how to become one yourself. Not only is this bank connecting with its partners, it's helping them get even better. Top-rated amenities, St. Lucian style, a marathon at midnight. Yes, it's all next on this station.
Listeners, welcome back, viewers. Once again, with me this morning, we have Senator, of course, Britton with me, Quinc Britton with me this morning, and of course, he with me we're discussing, and of course, he's the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and the Creative Industry. Senator Britton, once again, welcome back. I wanted to keep the conversation a wee bit on the parish of St. Mark in this segment once again. Your overall vision for the development of St. Mark. Tell me a wee bit about that.
Well, my overall vision is simple: to, get St. Mark back to a sustainable, the sustainable economy in St. Mark. To once, one that we knew it to be even before I was born. St. Mark, from what I was told, and then part of my early upbringing, I remember, the place being all buzzing and vibrant with activities. Now it only happens like pretty much once a month.
In a seasonal way.
Yeah, but we would like to see something like that every day. So we, just encouraging persons to invest in whatever businesses and so on. So we are there to support, to make sure that we create the enabling environment so that people could provide some sustainable jobs. One of the things that many persons may not like to hear me say, but if one of those major projects that was announced for St. Mark, for instance the shrimp farm or the poultry farm, that would have made a significant difference in boosting the economy and so on. So we're looking for, if not something that major, but something that can provide some sustainable jobs. And that is what would, kind of stir the economy, make the economy more sustainable in St. Mark. And this is something that that's my overall vision, to see the place buzzing with activities, and you get more businesses and so on involved. We are making some strides, but not as fast as we would really like it to. For instance, something as simple as paying a bill in St. Mark, we don't have any facilities to pay bills. So what we
have to travel to St. John or even
so St. John, St. Patrick's, the neighboring constituencies or parish. So what we have done, we have engaged all the utility companies, and we gave them a proposal. Many of which is not really, they are willing to assist, but they don't want to set up shop per se. So one of the things that we did, we engaged the Postal Corporation to see if they can provide that services for us, and we are still in some dialogue and so on with them. It's something that I really hope that we can get achieved at the soonest possible time, because it takes a lot of logistics, because having one entity to give, to collect for all the different utility companies. We even try with one of the money transfer agents like Western Union, and so they have to see, for them it has to make economic sense.
Yes, I mean they have to bring some benefits to them also.
Of course. So we try in different avenues to see what can work, to make things better or easier for the lives of the people in St. Mark. And this is something that I that's my overall vision, to make St. Mark great as how it used to, restore those kind of glory days and so on for St. Mark. The
development of young people in St. Mark's, what do you think could be done more, especially for the young people within St. Mark's?
I would say some more opportunities. We've been engaging with them, because I always say you don't see young persons or young people as a problem to be solved, but it's talents and that you can utilize, but utilize them in a really good way. For instance, last year we had some delinquent youths in the communities and so on. So what we were able to do with them, through the Ministry of Social Development, we engaged Dr. Nils Chaitan on a program called Project Stop and Think, and that has been, it's been reaping success. You don't find those kind of deviant behaviors and so on as they were. So now it's a matter of sustained engagement. Getting some of them, we were able to get them to sign up through New Law and doing some other skills training and so on. But it's a process. Like I say, the development of people would come through education. There are a few persons that is interested in taking on apprenticeship programs in mechanics as well as furniture making and so on. So this is something that we will be doing and so on. Well, once it gets on the way, and so we will invite GBN. We will make it a big thing, you know. So yeah.
I mean, as you said, you want to make St. Mark's great again. You understand? And of course, it should be one of the if it could certainly become one of the Mecca parishes of Grenada. You know, not just a parish that we would just hear about, but folks want to, from a business perspective and so forth, want to invest in St. Mark because they see the growth of that particular parish. You understand? And where government will put more into it. You know, you may not be the actual, parliamentary representative. You the caretaker. But we just want to see more happen for that particular constituency. It's always, sometimes you drive through and you're scared to pretty much, hey, what's going on? You understand? What's going on? So I'm certainly hoping to see much more activity that create that buzz, as you would say, within the constituency some more.
Well, yes, and like I said, we're making some strides. For instance, every day you have tourists visiting our parish, our constituency. We boast of the highest mountain peak, highest waterfall, and so on. There are guys who do the tour operations and so on today. Also, do you know that we have 2 chocolate factories?
Yes, I know that.
Right, and we have a nutmeg museum as well. So tourists, come on a daily basis.
I mean, once the season is buzzing more.
Yes, even off season. Even off season. Yeah. So they open. Yes. So both nutmeg and the chocolate factory in particular, the one at Diamond, they're always open. They're always open. The one at Crayfish Bay, it's always open. So many persons may not know. So St. Mark's is not a place that you just pass straight. Come
but sometimes you get
enjoy.
That impression. Especially you're just driving on the main road and you just drive through. Sometimes you're not knowing of the other activities that are actually taking place.
Yeah.
I speak from that point.
Also, on a local cuisine, for instance, on a monthly basis, we have the St. Mark's Food Festival, which is run by SMOD, St. Mark's Organization for Development, and they're doing just over the weekend. They relaunched an enhancement to the festival, whereby they did some infrastructure upgrades. So when you come, they cover the drains and so on to make it a bit more safer. They get some additional tents and those kind of proper lighting. Toilet facilities and those things. So, like I said, I would like to see the economic activity more sustained and not just like on a monthly basis and so on. So, some of like how we have the chocolate factory operating 7 days a week, I would like to see more activities. Get more people investing and doing more activity, more employment and so on.
Supermarket coming to St. Mark, you never know that buzz that could create also. You understand?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
All right. Folks, we have a few more minutes left on today's program. Of course, we may be able to accept a call or two. If you, of course, have a question or two you may like to ask Senator Britton, feel free to do so. And so the lines are now open, 435-2041, 435-2041. And, of course, we probably can accept about a call or two if it's come pretty quickly before we take a wrap for today's program, folks. Senator Britton, St. Mark's is as you mentioned, it's a beautiful parish, especially when it comes to the natural aesthetics of Grenada. It's embedded in St. Mark's a whole lot. If you're looking for somewhere that maintains the nature, the things about nature in particular, St. Mark's is actually the parish to visit for that.
Sunset City.
Yes. All right, we do have our first caller. Let's see what they have to offer this morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, JT. How are you?
Caller, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Are you hearing me? Hello?
I'm not hearing the caller, but
hello, good morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes, go right ahead, please.
Mr. Quinc, I am so proud of you. I listened to the thing last week. That bridge, the work you're doing, who is that contractor? That bridge is so good as though you could lie down and eat. That I am so proud of you. I listened to you and you have grown. You have a vision for the constituency. You're doing a good work. The only problem I have is that I tell you straight away, I ain't like your hairstyle, but I respect you for that. You have to call this locks. But I find that you're a people's person. I'm impressed with you. You see, you're a people's person. Politics is all about people. And you have the touches. You and Andy, you all have the touches. You're doing a good job. I really find you're trying your best. I love that bridge. I like your spirit. Last week it was really, really good, and keep up the good works. But you know something, my friend? Cut it here. But I love that bridge, and all the best. I think you're doing a damn good work in Sunday, and the constituency up there. Keep it up.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, caller. And the contractor was Gilbert and Partners Engineering Company. So they did a wonderful job. You know, so. Well, about the locks, this is who I am. That's my identity, so you wouldn't find that happening.
All right. So, the Britton, of course, we may have to take a wrap for today's program. I want to thank you a whole lot. Anything in closing before we take a wrap for today?
Yes, JT. Well, thank you very much for having me. Like I said, it's my first time being in studio here, and God spare life, I guarantee it would not be the last.
No, of course. I think to have you back for an entire hour, so because there's lots where we didn't get to touch this morning.
Sure, especially when it comes to culture.
Yes,
there's a lot happening and so on. I just want to encourage persons, you know, like I said in my beginning statement, be responsible. You have the carnival is launched, and we are going into more activities. So we encourage you. So whatever you do it in moderation. Look out for those, especially our elderly and our kids or children. Make sure that they are safe. Do drink responsibly, have fun. You have a safe, violence-free carnival. Join or be part of a community group and so on to make because Spice Mass, the best mass by far depends on you and what your input would be in making this year a success or failure.
All right, thank you so much. So, Britton, once again, all the best for the rest of the day, and I certainly hope we could have you back in the studio on another occasion where we could expand on the conversation a whole lot more than we did at just this half an hour segment, because there's lots of top topics that we could touch on that we didn't get to touch this morning, and so we do that. Hey folks, once again, thanks for those of you who, of course, at home you listened and you participated some way or the other. Thanks for being with us here on To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another edition. Have a good one, folks. Goodbye.